Thank you. Try your microphone, Patrice.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning. Thanks for letting us into this fantastic event. This is Patrice from SBAB, the manager of our tools and technology team, the closest we get to architects at SBAB, and the guy who really knows what he's talking about. And I'm Klas Ljungkvist, CIO of SBAB. Not so sure that I always know what I'm talking about. SBAB, for you who don't know it, is a retail bank. We claim to be among the 5th, 6th largest banks in Sweden when it comes to balance sheet and lending volume. We are clearly only into house mortgages, private savings, and a little bit of additional products around that. We would like to speak today about what we think is really important. I try to keep a glance on the screen there and see if we can change somehow. Yeah. So SBAB was founded in the mid-80s, and from the beginning we've been an online player, meaning that we have no offices, we're not building our business on physical meetings or anything like that. In the 80s it was merely telephone-based, business-to-business oriented banking, while we in the mid-90s went into the retail space, still being purely online, so to say. In those days, you know, about the internet wasn't so developed, but customers called us by telephone and we made whatever we could to help them to get the best house mortgage out as possible. From that, the internet grew and so did we, so we're now online in the matter of not only telephones but also internet sites, mobile apps and stuff like that. And as you all know, probably the banking market is digitizing in a very, very rapid pace. Digital market and digital player, we believe that there is one single property, one single capability that you need to be really, really good at in order to survive and in order to win, and that is to be able to be fast. So that's all what we concentrate about on SBAB. We're about 500 employees, so we're not so large in headcount, but we are large in volume, as I said. So we'll talk a little bit about speed and flexibility, and concentrating on the speed thing. If you look back a couple of years, 10, 15 years on the internet business, you can clearly see that who wins the game is the one who learns to be fast, right? Fastest wins. And that is true in banking, in online banking, as well as in any other kind of online based business. Speed in our context is made up of two main ingredients. It's how we work together and architecture. So work and architecture, and those are the two areas that we're going to circle around a little bit here. Starting off with work. As all other claiming to be kind of modern companies, we are down to the bone, determined to go into the agile toolbox. And we are going to touch a little bit on our findings there, coming from a traditional control-focused bank into becoming a fast digital mover. It takes transition. And the Agile Toolbox is very, very adopted for that, as we all know. And what we concentrate on are, among other things, those 4 areas on the screen right now. To build our capability to experiment and learn, that means building things small, get them out to the customers as soon as possible, try the effect. If it works, continue. If it fucks up, take it back, redo, and get it out again. That is one of 4 very, very important cornerstones for us to elaborate around and be really, really good at. And we learn along as we run. So sometimes it goes really bad, like yesterday, for example, but very often it goes well. And this also grows courage, and courage is number 1 importance to be able to get to pick up speed. If you get cowardish and we don't dare to deploy this thing because we don't know by 101% sure that it's working, then you get slow, right? So better take a hit, be able to withdraw what you have just fucked up, and learn from it and do it again. Well, and succeed the next time, preferably. By the way, I was asked by one of our employer brander guys at home to please try to get some picture out of this event. So if anybody's got a mobile camera, please take a picture of us and mail it to us. You will get the mail address from...
Take a picture of him.
No, yeah, both of us. Patrice is younger and more beautiful. Okay, anyway, next one, goals. Working with goals instead of working with activities from a management perspective is imperative to pick up, to get speed in a company as well. Probably you're all aware of it, but it can't be stressed enough. Instead of us as leaders going to our teams and say, hey, you should do this and that, and don't do like that, do like this instead, etc., doesn't grow speed. So what we try to learn is to form goals from the management level, if we have levels anymore, but from the management, us who claim to be managers, right? The only way we have to actually lead our business is through goals and some frames and constraints around those goals. Get the teams to buy into the goals, elaborate around them, buy into them, and start figuring out on the team level, how do we reach these goals, right? So we present the goals, get a handshake on them, the framework around them, most legal stuff and economy, a bit of budget, then go. And then for the teams, we urge them to be transparent with how it goes. In combination with goals, it's very, very important to get KPIs, measurements that are continuously measurable. It's completely worthless in our experience to produce a goal. You should produce this thing in 3 months for this cost. That doesn't count. You should produce a value, right? An effect on the customers, for example. Say that customer journey should take 70% of the time it takes today. That's the goal. And then it's up to the teams who are involved to actually come up with what should we do to be able to reach that goal. And it should also be possible to measure it from day one if we go in the right direction or in the wrong direction. That gives us as managers confidence in that things go in the way we want it to go. It gives us opportunity to help the teams that are clearly not going in the right direction or not taking steps to receive the goal, but it's also very, very important for the teams themselves to have a stimulantia in picking up their own performance, improve continuously day after day after day. It's incredibly nice to be able to talk about around together these KPIs. As you can see that last week it went like this, now it goes like this. Why? Next week it goes like this, and so forth. Very, very strong and powerful tool. Autonomous teams, third very important thing. I'm sure that most of you as well have elaborated and worked in this area. We try to really stretch it to its end. And it means for us to be able to be efficient and fast, we build teams, cross-functional teams for real, from product expert, service expert on the banking side, together with engineers and together with UX and all capabilities that are needed in every little, sub-branch of our business to be able to do their stuff without having to ask anybody else. Waiting for somebody else is a killer for speed. It's the worst enemy of speed. So that's what we try to avoid by building these teams as autonomous as possible. They should be able to do their own stuff. As soon as they have the goal, they should be able to run and make the decisions on the next product, the next adjustment to a service, repairing something that doesn't really work well, continuously improve their part of the business. And determining what is the most optimal part of the business is not an easy run. I'm not probably have experiences of that as well. A very common way is to go by customer journeys or customer processes or value streams, and we adopt to that too, trying to find the optimal way for teams to work as independent as possible of each other. It's really easy to, theoretically say, of course you should do like this, but mentally and mindset-wise in any business, I would say, in any traditional business, it's really, really tough to, change the mindsets of people a little bit to be able to realize that we should actually sit in the same boat, work together regardless whether you're a business analyst or a hacker or a support guy or girl. Work together every day around the same subject grows speed, and that's, as far as we have found, at least the most efficient way. So we really, really try to do this and step out as a manager from what the teams are actually doing, but observe and get buy-in on goals again and measure the performance continuously. Fourth one, of course, very important to deliver value as soon as possible. We have a project like this. We try to figure out, chop it up in pieces that are adaptable to the teams that are the line teams that we have in the company, and figure out which is the most important thing that we can deliver for the customers or for our internal users, if that's that kind of project. Start working on that, launch it so it brings a value. It doesn't have to be an immense value from the beginning. Something that is usable. In this picture is a bit clumsily illustrated with skateboard, kick bike, etc., etc. instead of building components that don't have any meaning until you put them together, right? So get the value out fast. It's also very important to learn. I don't know if you have any comments to this, Patrice.
No, you're doing all right.
Right. So work is, I would say, 50% of the magic when it comes to be able to be really fast, right? Work. You can't underestimate the importance of collaboration in an efficient way. The other half is architecture. And in our book, at least, I might be wrong here, but I think you follow what we mean. Architecture, first of all, you have to determine where do we need to be fast. You can't be like fast in the whole tech stack and the business spectrum. So what we have chosen is, as many other companies, to be fast when it comes to our customer experience side. Website, mobile applications, all integrations supporting these coming digital channels as well. We have to be really fast when it comes to service, our customer service with new and better services there. So it's the customer focus for us, where we have decided not having to be so fast is in traditional banking platform stuff like interest calculation. Everybody knows how to do that. There's no business differentiator. Amortizations, bank payment mechanisms, that's not where we need to be. We need to be where the customer is and let somebody else take care of the stuff in the basement, right? The key to be able to be fast from an architectural way is to chop monoliths up in small decoupled pieces, small Lego pieces, as small as possible, in order to be able to launch a little at a time and very, very often, and also to be able to distribute these Lego pieces to the appropriate teams. So each team actually own their own component stack, right? So Patrice owns his stuff, I own my stuff, and in 95% of our work, we don't need to touch each other's things, right? So Patrice can run as hell while I fuck up with bugs and stuff and production problems and things. That's the way to scale. So if we have 8, 10, 20 teams that own their own component stack, it's also a key to be very, very fast. It's the Amazon way that we try to adopt to a little bit smaller scale. I'm not sure what's on the next picture. Let's see. Right, yeah. So the basement, standard stuff that don't need to be changed so often, where we ask vendors, we buy these things, by the way, and we ask vendors to look after them for us, banking systems, economy systems, things that we don't need to be fast on and we don't need to be best on. But on top of that, where the customer experience come into play, that's where we adopt OpenStack to be able to be fast, to build our Lego pieces on. This is actually Duplo. It should be smaller pieces, but you get the picture. Get the teams to work with those components that are within their scope and do it constantly. Don't change around like, okay, this team is going for project X this time and then change to something else. Projects are more losing their importance, and the line work within each customer value stream or business process area are what's really kicking speed. So Team X are good at the green stuff, Team Y are good at the blue stuff, and they don't every day have to collaborate around this. So if one of the teams have problem, the other one can run. Again, that's an important ingredient of being fast. Of course, trying to automate and speed up every process, take away all wait. Once again, waiting for something or somebody is the killer of speed. So what we try to do is to automate every moment of a process that can be automated, like container deployment, for example, swarm orchestrations, the usual Jenkins deployment tools, building pipelines for all teams so they can do the stuff by themselves. Not with one click deploy, but two, since we have to be compliant with regulators and stuff like that. Duality principles and things. So this is what we go all in for. I think there is there one more click? Yeah, independence once again. All this is to grow independence and autonomy, capability to build these autonomous teams that can do their own stuffs by themselves. So we've done this for, what is it, a year and a half? Or something like that.
Yes.
What's your experience, Patrice, compared to the old?
It's hell of a ride at the moment. We had all the monoliths, all the big stuff, and now we are shopping it and learning, and improving and getting faster. And hopefully better.
Yeah, some days we're better, some days we're. But as Patrice said, we come from a quite legacy-heavy bank, traditional monolithic background, and try to chop these things that once again where we need to be fast, chop them up in these small pieces, and it's not a walk in the park. Things go bad, and it takes more time, and it's really complicated. But we take it from the old infrastructure, traditional bought-in stuff. Linux, platforms and things like that, and chop it up and put the new things into the OpenStack environment, just to enable speed. I'm not sure if we should say something about the reason for choosing OpenStack as well.
Well, the SBAB is the most important part, is the compliant part. We have a private cloud. The reason, or what we are looking for, is we have a lot of suppliers. And as Klas said it, we are waiting all the time. We need changes, and we can't deliver in the speed which we need. And then the idea was, okay, we need to get our own private cloud, which we can handle all by ourselves. And after a lot of evaluation, OpenStack came up. And I think it's in the next slide, it was also city networks, which we decided on using there. And as I said, as best as it sounds, the best thing which can happen to SBAB is that we never have to talk to the city networks guy, because when everything is working as we want to have it.
Yeah,
and we are nearly there.
We're almost there. We're getting closer. Yeah, but the compliance part is important. So we, of course, fantasies of how can we go Amazon or Azure or Google Cloud or something like that. It's not possible yet for us as a Swedish bank. But we're a city network, and OpenStack platform provides a really, really good and fast alternative. That's why we are where we are now. So how is it going then? We would like to share a few results with you. Since speed is the most important thing that we try to grow our capabilities within at SBAB, that's also our at least from the tech perspective, our main KPI that we run for, so to say. So I think it was a year ago, we had our last ever, I would say, monthly deploy. Deploy event. Up till then, at least I think more than 50% of the code that we actually released was released in monthly deploys, with all the anguish, taking stuff down during a weekend, putting lots of stuff in production, and then turn the lights on again and hope that it works. It did so. So we decided to stop this. We're not going to do it anymore. So what we have grown is the capability to deploy as often as possible at any time, very important, without downtime. So we have put quite some effort into that, a few hours of work to be able to do that in the OpenStack environment. So we started to measure the amount of user story, which is closely correlated to the amount of actual releases, since we do atomic releases of components that we build. So I would say the figures in this picture is the amount of user stories, but the number of actual deploys is a little bit less, but not very much less than these figures. So we measured the start figures from Q4 last year, where we had around, what does it say, 141 stories during one month, anytime, without downtime. So we had the goal of doubling this during this year, and already in March we kind of did that. Seeing the results now in August, we have exceeded that, and the September figures are not there, but September is behind us, and I can say that we are right under 400 deploys in September. So we decided to tweak the goal a little bit and go for 400 this year, which is not bad over 1 year to be able to grow that capability with the help of the OpenStack stuff and all the effort that we've plowed down into the mechanisms of auto-deploy, and hammer in every day the importance of doing things small, do it often. You sometimes get the argumentation back mostly from economy girls and guys that, hey, isn't this cheating? You can just take this thing, chop it up in two, and deliver it 2 times. Yeah, true, but it still brings value, since it grows our capability of being fast, right? So that's our main takeaway that we would like to share with you. Put all your efforts, and not all your efforts, but a hell of a lot of your efforts at least, down into the capability of being of speed. So, is there anything you would like to add to that, Patrice?
To your user stories? No. As I said, my team is just providing the other teams with support to be able to be fast, whatever we need. and we are responsible for the OpenStack at SBAB and making sure that the teams don't have to think about infrastructure because that's not what they should be focusing on. And as long as it works like that, everyone is happy, especially him.
Yeah, I could also add that this journey is not without bumps. So we have a few other KPIs. One of those are what do you say? The degree of quality of what we deliver. So we measure all errors in productions, all all defects that we have to deal with. And we are struggling a little bit there, to be very honest with you. The speed brings with it that we shoot in the, skjuter i stolpen. I'm not sure what it's called in English, but that we kind of screw up sometimes. But also there, we try to build the capability to, okay, if you screw up, do it really fast and be able to withdraw the error quickly from production. That's also a way to grow courage and to grow speed as well. Right. I'm not sure if there is, if you're here, as we might be, since business is going good, sometimes not so much anymore, but you could hear argumentation like, hey, it's going really well now, why should we change something? In a digital market, as a digital player, that's what's going to happen. So, and I think we're all realizing that, so we can't stand still. We have to run faster and faster and take the opportunity to build the capabilities of being speedy. Okay. That's about it from us. If you have any questions or reflections, or if you want to debate us and say, hey guys, you're wrong there. Stability is what counts. Please hit us.
I have a sort of a question, but also an observation. I mean, you say 500 people, and I'm sure not 500 people are pushing things to production in your company, but you're actually hitting 400 pushes to production a month is astounding in my mind.
Oh, thanks.
Just not a question, just wow. Thanks. Awesome presentation.
Okay, cool.
So Klas, just you mentioned a good loan, right? So just being like a customer that buys a house or whatever, simplify. You're thinking the percentage of the rate, so to speak, of a loan is what's most important. But what is it that you can add for value there, so to speak? Is the digital experience and all that stuff? Is it making the big difference, or is it just having the lowest rate and then you're a winner on this market, so to speak?
No, it's a means for survival. If you have tried to contact us for, the last 6 months or 8 months, you realize that if you could try to call our customer service, you don't get through because we are so popular. Because of the rates, probably, that people just simply don't go through. So we have an immense lot of work to make our customer service more efficient and to add the digital tools to enable for people not having to call us anymore. So it's a huge need of digital transformation in the bank. Good question, but so we're far behind, but we're trying to run as fast as we can to get it better. I think we had another question somewhere.
It's here, yes. For curiosity, when did you start to move into this structure?
The structure, which is microservice-oriented structure, I think 1.5 years ago, maybe 2 years.
The implementation of OpenStack started last spring. And then last September, we started moving the first services to production. And now we are growing by 10 to 20 services per month, which are moved further.
Yeah, so that's a transition part from the old to the new thing. So 1 year more or less, yeah. I think we had been studying the microservice phenomena before, but then deployed it to Linux and stuff like that, and started to, get into combat with it. But on the OpenStack and with the speed that we have now and the architecture, 1 year. So it's possible to do it, but it takes a bit of pain, and you need to get some confidence from the board and the management to allow for fuck-ups because they're going to come, but also for be really, really tight on measuring success parts, right? To prove progress.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
So out of 500 employees, how many working with tech and how many with OpenStack?
The question was how many of you are working with tech? I would say around 100. Data science and service development. 100 people, give or take. So 1/5 of the company, more or less. And working explicitly with OpenStack, it's a gang of 4, 5. Your team?
7.
Yeah, so it's not so many who are doing it, but as long as we don't need to contact City Network because of some trouble or something like that, it more or less flows very much by itself now. A lot of groundwork made, but now we can benefit from the work being done, so we don't need to mold around so much in the platform right now.
Yes. Over here. It's not as much of a question, but more of a reflection, really. For me, as a Linux guy, I'm used to think of doing one thing small and doing it right, and it's good to see that companies are starting to realize that.
Cool. Yeah, it's imperative. It's really, really one of the ground fundamental things for being fast. As long as you realize that you need to be fast, I mean, things are coming with that, as making things small, making them often, learn to be better and better. So yeah, thanks for the reflection. We share that.
Yes, one more question here.
Oh,
yeah.
Hi.
Yeah, 400 stories, I think, per month, that sounds like huge. So how many teams do you have, and what is the average size of your team?
Good question. And we could also add, what is actually a team? But yeah, I think we have 9 teams at the moment. One being a pure mobile app team. Sorry.
Data science.
And yes, also we have a data science, 4 data science teams. So 9 plus 4, 12, 13. Say 12 teams that are deploying, that we are counting in these statistics. And each team might be consisting 5 to 6 engineers, plus some business analyst, plus some product owner, and some product specialist or expert, I would say. So give or take 10 people, a team, maybe. And it's also important, referring to the question before, how many are working with this? Well, we are 100 on the tech side, but surely 50 more from the business side working together in these teams. So 150 would be the correct answer. Not all is about engineering. I would say half is about engineering. The rest is work. Right. The rest is proper work.
Okay. You stop now here.
It might be time for us to stop. Yeah. Okay, if there are no more questions, really nice being here. Thank you a lot for listening to us.
Thank you so much.